And usually, what kind of weather do you have up there? It's cold. It's frozen all year round. Okay? So, I've sent my enemies into a prison to learn about. They're going to learn about socialism. They're going to learn to appreciate it. Up in a prison in the Siberia, how many of them are going to survive? Probably none. Probably none. Some of them will, but probably not. Okay? And they're going to be tortured. Some of them are going to disappear. Some of them we still do not know what's going to happen to them. Okay? Now, those of you who were undecided, you were kind of undecided. You saw what happened to them. Are you undecided now?
No.
No. Are you for the revolution now?
No.
Not yet? Off to the Siberia. Who else was undecided? Are you all for me now?
Yes.
We all like the socialist revolution? Yes, and we're all very happy about it. What he did is that he creates a brutal police force. The dogs in Animal Farm,
Okay.
they will be what we call the KGB, the secret police that Stalin put forth, okay? So, how do you manage a secret police? This is what I'm going to say. If any of you guys find anybody who seems to be kind of against the revolution, which is bad for you, because remember you like the revolution, what should you do? Well, you can't kill them necessarily, but tell me. All right, so, was she sure? Did she raise her hand when I said that she should support the revolution? Yes, we're good? Yeah, did he? Are you sure? Absolutely. Anybody around here you're not sure about? Yeah, you're looking over here. You need to go and be purged, okay? See how he just looked? Am I really giving a trial? Am I really being fair? No, but I'm creating an element of fear. Fear is so big that are you going to be willing to risk your life? Or that are your children, or your mother, or your husband, or your wife? Maybe not. And so that was the job of the KGB, to have spies within its own people. Can you imagine how scary that would be? To not be able to talk to the person next to you because you're afraid that they would tell you for reasons or for no reasons. Okay? Look at what Stalin does, all right? And he's going to last for a very long time in the Soviet Union, and so he's going to become, it's probably its most famous leader, okay? He's going to have no freedom of speech. Do you guys remember Squealer? Have you met Squealer yet?
Yes.
Okay, what does Squealer do? Look at his name even.
Goes up for study.
Exactly. He promotes the information that Stalin wants you to see. Does he always tell the truth?
No.
But do the animals in the farm know what the truth is all the time?
No.
Why not? Why can't you tell?
Because they cover up the food.
They cover up and they close it. Can the animals leave the farm? No. Same thing happened in the Soviet Union. You could not leave the Soviet Union. Information could not come into the Soviet Union. So much so that in the Soviet Union you had your own cartoons. So you know how, for example, at the same time period in the States, people had Superman? In the Soviet Union, they had their own superheroes. Okay? No information was leaked out of the Soviet Union. No information came into the Soviet Union. Stalin, just so you get an idea of how he manipulated the truth, had a team of scientists decide that there was only one tectonic plate underneath all of the space that was the Soviet Union. Is that true?
No.
No. But what he wanted to prove like that is that they were all one people, and all the countries that he annexed to the Soviet Union, they should all be part of us. But do you know any different? No, because can you talk to any other scientists? Or any other newspapers? You can't. So that was the job of having no freedom of speech. If you don't know what's going on, if you don't know the truth, if you can't express your ideas, do you keep having those ideas? No. If you've never known democracy, you don't know what the word means, you don't live in a democracy, and I never show you an example, do you miss democracy?
No.
No, because you don't know what it is. And so with the years, that's what freedom of speech will do, okay? Stalin and Napoleon as well, what they do is also they do repression in the form of human rights violations. Obviously, the lack of freedom of speech is a violation, okay? There will be tremendous tortures. Stalin, you guys know Hitler, right? Hitler's considered a pretty bad guy in history, right? He had millions of people murdered. Hitler is like a tiny, sweet baby next to Stalin. We do not know till this day the amount of people that Stalin had tortured, killed, disappeared. We do not know. The amount is tremendous in comparison, just so you get an idea, all right? So he sent them off to the gulags in the Siberia, the prisons that I told you about. They're called gulags. China also had them. And the gulags, the gulags in the Siberia are almost impossible for you to get out alive. And if you did, you were so scared that did you talk against Stalin? No, you didn't, okay? And obviously he had different kinds of tortures for all kinds of reasons, all right? So people did not go on the streets, they did not protest, they did not do anything against the system. Stretching or push? Okay. All right. And maybe the thing that he's most known for is trying to bring Russia to the present. Remember that was one of the problems with empire. The Russian Empire had not brought the Industrial Revolution. So Stalin says we need to bring the 20th century to the Soviet Union. We need to show that socialism is good. How do we show that socialism is good? When we have nobody starving, when everyone has education. And how do we do that? By bringing technology to the Soviet Union. With technology, what do you have? If I build more factories, what do I need in those factories? I need more workers. Remember that word, the proletariats? I need more of them. So he asks for loans for different countries in the world and creates what is going to be called first, the 5-year plan. And Stalin, or Napoleon, with Squealer, or with his media, will say, in 5 years, Russia will be the most technological country in the world. Was he successful in 5 years? How many of you buy Russian equipment? TVs, cars? Not so much, do you? No. And it's been almost 100 years, right? So 5 years didn't work. He goes on to another 5-year plan. So the first 5-year plan did not last. He went into another. So that's why we call them the 5-year plans. He thought that in 5 years, everyone was going to be working. Okay? And he brought the technology to Russia. And in the book, The Revolution Brings Technology, which is the windmill. Okay? So everyone works in the windmill. All the resources are pulled into the windmill. Does good quality come out of the windmill? You don't know yet? Okay, we'll know. In Russia, it does not. There was a lot of stuff created, but nobody ever wanted to buy it, all right? Or there was a lot of stuff that was done to show the world they were so great, but what about the workers themselves? Yeah, they were unhappy. A great example of that is the race for space. Who were the first people to have somebody up in space, in orbit? Russians, okay? The Soviet Union. Did that help the poverty that these people were living in? No. Not at all. Okay, it did not help the repression, the human rights violations that they all suffered from. All right? Okay, so far, are we clear? Yep. Okay, and there's a poster of Stalin. Doesn't he look cute?
No.
Very beautiful. He's almost like a grandpa. Do you see him? He's holding up a baby. The baby's holding up the Soviet Union's flag. There are flowers, beautiful colors. Remember we talked about beautiful colors and how they make people happy? He's holding up the baby. The baby is kind of like the revolution. It's been successful. Was this really how he was?
No. He was a tyrant.
He was a tyrant. You're absolutely right. To give you another example, during World War II, when the U.S. was creating the atomic bomb, you guys remember that?
Yes.
Russian scientists had spies in the U.S. that actually told Stalin, the Americans are building this bomb. If they get this bomb and they get it produced, they're going to be a superpower, and we're going to be in trouble. We should produce an atomic bomb so that we're on the same side. What did Stalin say? Lies. You're all lying. Get him killed. He had the scientists killed. Okay? Were they telling the truth?
Yes.
So this revolution that we talked about, it lasted for about 70 years. Okay? So for about 70 years, you will have the Soviet Union completely enclosed. Why didn't other countries help? Why didn't other countries say, oh, look at what's going on in the gulags?
They didn't know.
They didn't know. Isolation was key. Nobody knew. So in Animal Farm, we were talking about a little bit before, did the other farms know exactly what was going on in this farm? No, nobody was really aware. And so if the president of the farm or the president of a country like Stalin tells you an official version and you're not able to go in, do you know that it's a lie? No. And meanwhile, they're producing the first people to go up in space. They're also producing the best athletes. Russia is still the #1 gold medal winner in the history of the Olympics. To this day, nobody can beat the amount of medals they got because of when they were the Soviet Union. Can you imagine? So, do you believe that people are starving if they can win a bunch of gold medals in the Olympics? No, you think they must be great. These are wonderful athletes if that's happening. Yeah.
One of those blackers like wear black medals, like they were like said that if you don't win something, you don't get like food for a year or something.
Say that again. Say the first part again.
Like for example, many like athletes wear black medals, so like if they.
But not in Russia. Not in Russia.
They needed to work hard.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, they were a class apart. But did we know that until the Soviet Union fell apart? No, and so perception was a big thing as well, okay? So that's why Orwell, when he writes Animal Farm, and later on, when he writes 1984, which he actually wrote in 1948, okay? But it's, if you guys ever get to read 1984 as well, what is magical about what Orwell saw is that he was able to see this happening, and without having absolute evidence, just having some details of things that were leaked out by people like Trotsky that escaped, he was able to say say to the world, look at how brutal these governments can be. Right? That's what Orwell's message was, and that's why he wrote Animal Farm. And it seems like such a simple book. It's almost like a children's story, is it? No, it's trying to teach you a lesson about how dictatorial, authoritarian governments can be so brutal.